Welcome back, and thank you once again for your interest in Foundations Classical Academy. We really appreciate your interest and the time you're taking to watch these videos. My name is Dr. Amber Workman. I am the founder and director of Foundations Classical Academy. Now, in our previous video, we talked about some of the core courses that are offered at Foundations. We talked about the Art of Attention, our attention building course. We also talked about our print and cursive handwriting courses. And we said that we consider these courses to be absolutely fundamental. We need students to be able to pay attention in order to be good students. And we also need them to be able to have a way to take down the information that they're learning. And we said we consider the best way to take down information. We consider that the best way to take down information is through writing by hand. And therefore, we offer two courses to help students develop their handwriting. We offer print and cursive handwriting. Sometimes we offer those courses together. The next core course that we offer, and a course that we consider truly fundamental for all students, is our note-taking and study skills course. Now, this course actually is a bit better for students who are somewhat older. We wouldn't put a first grade or a kindergarten student in this course. But for our students who are older and starting to really take notes and need to learn how to study on their own, we do consider this course very, very important for them. Some skills we develop in this course, obviously, how to take notes, how to listen to someone, the teacher, a fellow classmate, and jot down important information from that particular speech. How to read a book and take notes from the book, extrapolate from the book, take out the most important information and write it down. We also work on skills such as summarizing, how to read a bunch of text and make a summary, how to make an outline, how to read something and then outline it so you have the basic structure, some techniques for memorizing material. Students always have to memorize material, especially when they're learning the basics of something. They have to memorize the terminology, for example, that's used in that particular discipline. So we focus on a variety of study skills and note-taking skills. And we also offer a sort of add-on to our study skills course, and that is called Guided Study Hall. Now, if you remember in school, having a guided study hall, this was like a time where students would gather, sometimes in a library or in a certain classroom, and a teacher would be there, and the point would be they would be allowed to study during that time and get some of their homework done. We know that some students get distracted when they sit down to study. We know that some students don't have the best study habits. You know, they don't study regularly, for example. We must study regularly to retain the information that we're learning. And therefore, we do offer a similar study hall, but online. So what we do is we have our study skills students come at a designated time and meet as a group. And I'll have the students go around and tell me what they're working on for that study hall. What do they want to accomplish? Maybe it's, I need to learn my Latin vocabulary. Okay, so everyone will announce at the beginning what they want to get done. They'll take out the materials, clear their desk, clear their work area of everything else, clear the area of all distractions. And then we will work quietly for a designated amount of time, like 45 minutes, something like this. And the teacher will just kind of supervise, to kind of check in now and then, make sure students are on task. Now, this is not the same as tutoring, so students are not really encouraged to ask the teacher content questions like, hey, can you help me with this algebra problem? It's not really what the study hall is about. This is about helping students become independent, and of course, if they need tutoring, that's a separate session. But students are able to ask questions here and there. They can type a direct message to the teacher and say, could you give me a tip? I'm having a hard time actually memorizing some of these words. Well, what can I do? That sort of thing. And then at the end of the study hall, right before we're ready to close up, I have students go around and tell us what they've accomplished. So that way there is accountability at the end. I might even ask them to show us. If they were supposed to write a paragraph or two, I have them show it to us, right? Just for some accountability. Now again, we don't want students ideally to take guided study hall every single semester for years and years. We want them to become independent. We want them to be able to study on their own. That's the real goal. But we feel that the guided study halls help build regular study habits, good study habits, and they help students to put in to practice some of the skills that we are learning in the class. So we think that these are very productive. Plus, they get their homework done. It's really nice. In the study skills course, I often show students, by the way, that teachers still study. Teachers still study, so we understand what they go through, sort of, when they're studying. And we have a picture here of I think this is like a coffee shop type space where I was studying some Latin, and I'm showing students how I'm doing that. So I always like to show them that teachers study too, and this is also something that we ideally will continue for a long time. We'll be lifelong students. Oh, and also I show them that I put into practice the same study skills that they're learning in class. All right, so study skills. Note-taking and study skills is our third core course. And our fourth core course, or set of core courses, have to do with reading. We believe reading skills, developing strong reading skills, is something that is ultimately very important for students. If they cannot read well, and if they don't like to read, or they don't have the habit of reading, it's very, very important, very, very difficult, for those students to succeed in any of their classes. So many of the classes require reading. It's also hard for students to succeed in life. If you're not a good reader, it's hard to succeed in life. And also it's hard for someone difficult for someone to gain the knowledge, right, that's found in books, the depth of knowledge. It's not the same to watch a video as it is to read a book. I mean, the depth that's presented in videos is not even comparable to what's found in a book. They're very superficial, and so we try to help students form very good reading habits, very solid reading habits through the teaching of phonics for the younger children, and also to help them love to read all types of literature. We learn a lot of content knowledge too from that literature. We learn about our civilization and history from reading good literature. And also we try to develop within them a love of reading, where they'll want to read on their own for the rest of their lives, where they will choose reading as a favorite pastime, where they'll ask you to go to the library on weekends, where they find pleasure and solace even in books. So that is a major focus of Foundation. So here are our core courses: the art of attention, print and cursive handwriting, note-taking and study skills, and reading. We believe if students develop all of these very well, that they will be able to do well in any class. Let's go back to our reading courses again. Now, we offer a variety of reading courses where we're getting ready to offer a kindergarten story time that is enriched story time, meaning that it has more than just story time. It has classical music that we study, Baroque music, things like that. We study works of fine art to the degree that kindergarten students can do that. We read stories and discuss them, of course, all kinds of things. We also offer a course called Adapted Classics. It's one of our most popular courses, and this is for upper elementary and middle school students. Although any student really who could benefit from this class is welcome to take it. Adapted Classics helps students to sort of go from reading, let's say, picture books, good books, like beginning, let's say, chapter books, that sort of thing, to reading serious works of classic literature. By serious works, I mean like the real long-standing, sort of grown-up works of classical literature, like Homer, like Shakespeare. But it's sort of a way to ease them into that, and hopefully to get them interested in reading those works. So the works that we read are adaptations for children of major classics. And, again, hopefully students will go on to read these in their original form when they're a little bit older. So recently we've switched over. We haven't been using this all that much, but we've switched over to using the Adapted Classics from the Core Knowledge series. This is a series of books that's been developed by Core Knowledge. And the reason we chose these is because the adaptations are pretty good, but also the books are free online, meaning that we can offer, that allows us to offer this particular class to students with fewer economic resources. We consider that very important. Now here we have this is not the actual book, it's the activity book. And we also have a reader there from ancient Greece and Rome. We try to incorporate history as much as possible into these classes too. What we do not do with these courses is we don't overload students with a bunch of worksheets and comprehension questions and things like this. We think that those things have a place, but sometimes they tend to, if you're trying to get a student to love reading, they kind of take away from that. It's like, well, if I have to analyze everything I read, it's like if we were to go to relax and see a nice movie and just enjoy it, we don't want to be filling out a worksheet afterwards or something like that. We just want to enjoy the thing. And that's kind of what we've set up Adapted Classics to be like. It's really a class for enjoyment, just to get the kids to love this kind of stuff. Now, at the same time, does it increase their vocabulary? Absolutely. Does it help them to become more fluent readers? Absolutely. Do we integrate Socratic discussion so the kids learn how to have a civil discussion about different topics, and also to listen to other people's point of view and respect them? Yes, we do. So they gain all kinds of skills from these classes, in addition to the reading, in addition to learning about things like ancient Greece and Rome. So yes, this is an excerpt here from some of our books that we're using for the Iliad and the Odyssey. But we also, Adapted Classics can be taken over and over. We have a variety of books that we use, and we change them out. Here is an image from our last Adapted Classics course. You can see here it's just some artwork. We try to keep things simple. We try not to clutter up our slides and things with a bunch of text. We want to keep students feeling relaxed and not overwhelmed. But sometimes we analyze art that goes along with the text, which is pretty fun. And here's an instance from this is not from the same class. This is from a Christian class, but it shows us how it shows us how, well, I guess this is another example of how we sometimes integrate art into our classes. In this case, we were talking about the 6 days of creation, and as a supplement for that, we were looking at different ways the different days of creation had been represented in art. So that's kind of something too that we bring into Adapted Classics, is this idea of art history. Let's analyze art. Let's see how art connects to what we're reading. And so they're pretty, those classes are pretty interdisciplinary as well. So thank you so much once again for your interest. We hope that you'll consider our core courses, helping your students to develop their attention, their handwriting skills, their note-taking and study skills, and their reading skills in order to help them be more successful as students and just to have a better life. If you're interested in any of these courses, let us know. We try to offer these regularly, or at least on a rotating basis.